So the creator of Bleach has seemingly revealed that he's been going through some stuff lately, but at the same time, there's some good news regarding the creator himself. Because oftentimes we get a lot of worrisome updates here or there, and it's like, yo, this thing happened to this author, this thing happened to that creative. So it's actually a good thing that we get some good news once in a while from these creators, and just in general finding out that, you know, it's not always doom and gloom for all these creators. Some of these people actually make it out of whatever circumstances. Because in case you don't know, during the creation of the Bleach manga, Tite Kubo, the creator of Bleach, was going through some things, so much so that it actually forced him to kind of hurry things along with the Bleach series. In all honesty, based on what we've heard in the past, Bleach probably would have gone on a lot longer. The 1,000-Year Blood War ending probably would have been somewhat different, at the very least pacing wise, had it not been for these things that Kubo was dealing with regarding health and issues in general. So it's no secret that Tite Kubo has been dealing with some stuff for quite some time. Now obviously, fast forward to today and age, things are a little bit different. Things aren't the same. He's not every single day, every single hour, every single minute working on Bleach, but he's still been hard at work in other aspects, because despite the fact that we haven't gotten any updates, of course there's the Burn the Witch stuff, the spin-off series to the Bleach franchise. There's of course the Bleach sequel spin-off manga that kind of again hasn't had any updates, but nevertheless you got to imagine that that's somewhat on Tite Kubo's mind, and that's assuming that he hasn't been working on it at all, which there's a potential possibility that he has, at the very least on both angles regarding Burn the Witch and the Bleach sequel. And then of course we know that he has been very much so hard at work for quite some time now on the Bleach 1,000-Year Blood War anime. Pretty much every update that we've gotten about this thing is the fact that Tite Kubo is doing storyboards. Kubo is making sure that they get everything right. Kubo is making sure down to the, smallest and largest of details, whether it be the structure of the story or down to Renji's underwear color choice. Tite Kubo has been putting in a lot of work and a lot of attention and a lot of dedication to making sure that this thing is done right. And despite the fact that, yeah, it's not that he's, working on a manga every single second of the day, ultimately that's still a significant amount of a task to put on the body. Like anybody that's ever heard anything about the anime industry, about creation in this world or whatnot, they know that a lot of work goes into these things. And even if he's just simply storyboarding and giving direction, you got to imagine for somebody that's been doing a lot of these things for so long, it probably is going to be somewhat taxing. Then not to mention the fact that he also runs his club outside situation, which also takes a little bit of his time as well. Like Tite Kubo has been working on a lot, and it seems as though at the very least for a while it was actually starting to affect him in many ways. And of course, before we continue, make sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell. I'd greatly appreciate it. You get updated on all my videos incoming, and I'll be able to inform you on what's happening in the world of anime and manga. Hit them buttons. Because according to this, we got an update from the club outside that Kubo said this: by the way, now that I'm feeling better, I've had a rough time lately. First bad lower back strain in 10 years, plus my first cold in 3 years. It was brutal, and honestly, for something this painful, the name sounds way too mild. Okay, for starters, one of the major aspects to take into account again that I want to actually champion and celebrate, because we don't always want to talk about the negatives, is the fact that Kubo is fine now. Kubo is good. Tite Kubo is out the bad weather, so to speak, and he's actually on to better days. Because it easily could have gone a different direction. It easily could have gotten that, we're getting horrible updates. We hear all the time from all sorts of creatives, anywhere from Yoshihiro Togashi, creator of Hunter x Hunter, to Kohei Horikoshi, My Hero Academia. But to actually start off with a positive outcome, hearing that Tite Kubo is actually in good health and good spirits and overall out the bad weather, that's good news, and that's something to actually point out and celebrate. But now onward to some other things. The fact that he said first bad lower back strain in 10 plus years. Let's just think about that for a second. He was doing the Bleach manga roughly about, yes, 10 years. So essentially, it seems like potentially, it could very well be, of course, based on what we've known, that again, he's been doing a lot of storyboarding, which takes a lot of drawing, and it's similar concept in a way of doing manga. You got to be on the desk drawing, but it also could be hinting at something else. Considering the fact that Bleach's anime is winding down as far as production goes for the final core, it could possibly be hinting, and I'm gonna say possibly, that Tite Kubo has picked up the pen again. And what I mean by picked up the pen again, possibly he might be drawing manga stuff or working on some other stuff on the side as he works on the Bleach Thousand Year Blood War, perfecting it, making sure that it is actually up to his standards and his, ultimate vision or whatnot. But again, if homie hasn't had this type of pain in a decade, it could very well be that he's been back on the job, and considering him multitasking in multiple facets, it could very well be that that's what happened. Essentially trying to juggle a couple of different aspects as far as doing manga and of course doing the TV anime could very well have resulted in that. And again, some of that is speculation and opinion based, so to speak, but it does kind of add up. And regardless of what, even if it, let's just say, isn't that he's been doing manga, that just is another demonstration of Tite Kubo's dedication to this whole thing in general. The fact that, yeah, they say no pain, no gain. Ultimately, he's probably feeling the pain from all the work that he's been putting in. But again, we got to add in, and I want to emphasize on the fact that he's doing better. And then, of course, the first cold in 3 years, maybe Kubo been outside. Maybe Tite Kubo been doing his thing. Because you got to think, with everything that he's building, everything that he's working on, it's going to have Kubo moving around. It's going to have Kubo doing this, that, and the third. Like, he's in high demand. You got to remember, when we speak about Bleach and we speak about this author in particular, this is not, a rookie. This is not an up-and-comer. This is not even somebody that has just started to get their break. This is essentially, I don't know if you'd say living legend, but this is a guy that has already won the game, so to speak, and is still essentially at it. So yeah, unfortunately, putting in all that work is probably going to have him outside. Hey, club outside, what a pun. And is probably at the same time going to have things like that happen, but one more time, he's good now. And despite the fact that, yeah, he did stress that it was brutal, and honestly, for something this painful, the name sounds way too mild. Essentially, Kubo was probably going through it, which it kind of adds up and makes sense as to why they had to take somewhat of a break at the end of last year, I want to say, early this year. And it was probably so that Kubo could recover from all of that. But at the very least, we can all safely say that Tite Kubo is good, and things is about to get even more grandiose as Bleach's Thousand Year Blood War comes to a close as far as production goes. Because if this thing starts airing in the autumn time, we got like about 4 or 5 months left of Kubo working on this thing, and at the same time, if he's possibly working on the manga, which to me personally, on a side note, it would be a very good thing if he was to launch the second chapter of the Bleach Hell arc while the anime is airing, because the cross promo would go crazy. Everybody would be going nuts over the chapter. Everybody would be going nuts over the anime. It would make the most sense, in my opinion, to really heat things up and take this thing to another stratosphere if he actually released that thing during the final core, or possibly at the very end of the final core of Bleach's Thousand Year Blood War. But of course, the higher ups could have all sorts of different plans. They could be looking at it like, well, we could wait for another moment to really, have an impact and keep Bleach's IP, standing after the end of the Bleach Thousand Year Blood War. Because the greatest promo something of this nature is going to have, of course, is a TV anime airing. So without that, they could be thinking at, well, we'll still have a big promo of like, yo, manga back. So we'll see, time will tell. But regardless of what, with all the work that Tite Kubo has been putting in, he had some issues, but he's seemingly back in good standing, and that's good news. I'm kind of tired of coming in here to talk about like, yo, this happened, negatively to this one, this happened negatively to that one. Like, yo, good news, finally, good stuff, positive vibes, let's go. Curious what you guys think about this though. Do you think that there's a possibility, based on everything we know, that Tite Kubo has been penning some, future manga chapters for either Burn the Witch or Bleach's, sequel? And your overall thoughts and expectations. That's all I have for this one. I'm Tim. As always, people, have an awesome day. Peace in.